Hello and welcome to the Sales Exchange podcast, B2B marketing talk for CEOs. When it comes to marketing, we can safely say that people haven't changed, but the technology certainly has. And if we don't adapt, we're going to run into some serious problems. So, if you're a CEO who's involved in marketing, join us as we talk about strategies and tactics needed to generate new business. And I'm your host and founder of Sales Exchange, Nigel Main. Hello and welcome. I'm joined today with Liz and... Morning. And we're just going to... This is just one of our, I would say, very relaxed podcasts. And we just want to have a chat about things that we've been thinking about during the week and especially things... I suppose it's debunking some myths in a way. Because people expect to follow a certain path when it comes to doing marketing, and especially B2B marketing. And I just think that we were talking earlier about why people would want to do one thing over another, do telesales over SEO or SEM or any form of marketing. But the thing is that because of the work that we're doing as an organisation, as a director of an organisation, I'm aware of certain things that other directors wouldn't be aware of, in terms of the technicalities that sit behind doing, building a website, building everything that's required, the technology that's required for websites, the SEO, the building of all of it from the ground up to actually present a message. And what we touched on earlier, before we started the podcast, we were talking about SEO and SEM, so search engine optimization and search engine marketing, and how it's quite ubiquitous. It's everywhere. I mean, everywhere you look when it relates to marketing, you've got people banging out, let's do SEO for you. And one of the factors, we go back to the early days, and I think a lot of managing directors would turn around and say, I'm not doing it. Because we lost thousands of pounds, however many years ago, when we first started doing SEO. People were just clicking on it. People were hijacking it and clicking on AdWords and costing people a fortune. And some people, especially like financial services and the like, were paying up to £25 per click just to get somebody onto their site. But the logic and mentality and psychology of all of that's changed. And so where are we now? And if we, you look at a page, whereas before you used to get the green adverts down the right-hand side of a web page, now they're at the top. Just there's a little square that says ad. And so certain people, they're not bothered with what they click on. But the criteria to get information at the top is, well, you can say what you can put whatever keyword you want in the top, and you'll appear there if you want to pay enough money. So you're in a bidding war. But if someone's coming into the game now, like right now, what are you going to do? How are you going to compete with some company that may have been working on the internet for however many years? They've adapted and enhanced their own articles and documents, and they've got the right URL, they've got the right browser page title, they've got the right page title, they've got the right headings, the H1, H2, H3s, they've got bullet points, they've got numbers, they've written for a 12-year-old, they've got alt tags on their pictures, and the pictures that they've used have got meaningful descriptions on them as well as meaningful alt tags. They've referenced their preferred keywords within the body text of the documents. They've got a meta description, but we know that's not really used as much anymore. But it's still used in terms of Open Graph, and Open Graph is I don't know if you know, Open Graph is a metadata structure that takes your preferred photograph and description and puts it on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. So you're getting the right information out there. But your description that's used is your Open Graph description, which can be taken from your page meta description. And I'm going down a bit of a rabbit hole here, but I'm just kind of setting out the not the tone, but the parameters that to be successful in terms of being found. That's all. You've got to jump through a lot. And when it comes to the SEO people, they can only work to a structure, because that's what the search engines are demanding of them.
Don't you also think, though, from a consumer's point of view, that you have, you have those at the top of the page, the ads at the top of the page, but they don't necessarily reflect what the consumer wants. So I can put a search in for what I want, and me as a user searching for something, I almost always ignore those top ads because they don't necessarily reflect what I'm looking for. So I think you've got search engine optimization, which is one thing, but I sometimes think that those ads there, I'm very suspicious of clicking on those, because I think actually that's not really what I asked for. I asked for something else that was below it.
Yeah.
And so I do think from a consumer's point of view, I understand why you would want to pay for advertising, but oftentimes you can click on something that's fairly, or you search for something that's fairly generic, and you click on one of those ads, and the people, the company that's there is based like 200 miles away. It's like, and that's not what I want.
Yeah.
I want somebody that can supply me locally, unless it's something that it's something that can come from, like a box of envelopes or something. I don't care where it comes from. But I generally ignore those because I don't necessarily think they reflect what I personally am looking for. And if I put a long description in of what I am looking for, I tend to go to the ones below those ads, 2 or 3, because they look like they know what they're talking about and they've addressed the need that I have put in through my search criteria.
The more generic, you get people's, you look at a company and you put some information in, I'll click on that and find out we're based in north of London, in Hertfordshire, and it's Swansea or it's Scotland or it's just that's what we've to, I suppose, realize. There's a difference though. You've got a consumer, you've got people that are looking at it from a consumer point of view and think, I'm not going to put in some Boolean search with speech marks and people don't do that. The people in the know do that, but then that's only vanity anyway. I want to see where I am. Nobody does it. They just type it in. But also you've got the logic, which is now people have got Alexa and Siri and Google. The interesting thing is before you type something in, what would you say to Alexa? You wouldn't just go, marketing companies.
No.
And Alexa would go, yeah, and? Would you expect me to do with that? Then you'd say to Alexa, can you find me people or businesses that are in this and on all this information? So that's what you'd say to Alexa. So what do you type in? Because all Alexa's doing is converting your speech to text and doing the search for you. And that's where this is at. I think that I tell you, I have to say this. I've been waiting to do this, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, it's me, your inner voice. It's been a while since we talked. I know you keep ignoring me, but that's okay. We're in this together. I've been thinking, we're not getting the inquiries or leads that we want from the people who need us. We can't go on like this. Our salespeople blame the leads and marketing blame the salespeople. I know everyone thinks we've tried everything, but we haven't tried Sales Exchange. They've got a complete strategy unlike anyone else we've ever seen, We can download everything we need from their website without giving them an email address. And we can decide to do everything ourselves or call them in. What do you think? Go and look at salesexchange.co.uk and let's talk again soon.
So, moving on. If you're new to the podcast, we've been working on it. We've been working on our adverts. We've been working on our the technology and all the other different things. But we'll save that for another podcast. But basically, for businesses out there, I completely understand why managing directors would say, "You've got to be joking. I'm not doing it. It's too much effort. It's too much aggro." And we've never seen or heard anybody turn around and say, "Do you know what? We did this pay-per-click strategy. We did this SEO strategy, and our business has gone through the roof." I'm talking B2B. I'm talking about those three elements: hardware, so physical components; software that runs on all the hardware; and services. That's how I see B2B. I'm not talking about office refurbishment, but I'm talking about desks and computers and the software that's going to run on the computers and the consultancy service. So all those things. I've never once come across anybody that has said, "Oh my goodness me, this is amazing." And that means I'm not talking about the likes of Cisco or Microsoft or anybody like that. I'm talking about your average B2B local business in a given county or wherever. I have never heard anybody say, "Oh, we're going to float our company now because it's been so successful."
It's just part of the mix, though, isn't it? And you can't ignore it in terms of your marketing, but it is only part of the mix. It can't just be your single marketing strategy. There has to be more to it than that.
Yeah. I mean, I in a way, I feel sorry for, I say in a way, and I know, not in a way, I do feel sorry for business owners, because business owners are, if you look at was it Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs who said, "We employ you for..."
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs says, "We don't employ you and give you some great big salary for us to tell you what to do. We employ you so you can tell us what to do." So when you get to that point, you go, so the managing director he's taken a hit on his security. That's how I see it. So entrepreneur sets up his business. He takes a massive hit on his personal and family security to build a business and to make something happen, to do something that's entrepreneurial and creative, and employs different people to do different work. And they come in and they blag them and say, "Oh, we can do this, this, and this." So where's the business? Where's it happening? The MD, the entrepreneur's done his side of the bargain. He's fulfilled his bit. He's got the business going. And these people come in and go, "Oh, we can do this and this and this." And, "Oh, yeah, yes, pay us loads of money and we'll do your SEO and we'll get you top of the search engines." Go on then. I'll give you 100 grand to make sure every single page that I've got on any kind of search term I want appears at the top of the organic search engines. And nobody would be able to do it.
And the problem is Google are changing their algorithms all the time. So because of that, it's a constantly moving feast, isn't it? You've got to keep up on top of it the whole time. And if you're doing that, then that becomes a proper overhead and a proper effort, because if you let that slip for one moment, you lose your momentum because somebody else will get ahead of you.
I know.
And I think I think it is just part of the mix. And if you pin your whole success of your business on saying, "We have to be top of the search engines, we have to pay this money," it's like you misunderstand what marketing is all about. You misunderstand, and you don't actually understand your buyers, the people that actually buy your product, are going to find out about you way before they click on you because you're top of a search engine.
Well, this is it. I mean, one of the big things, the interesting point of the the interesting point is that to construct a decent SEO page, you have to follow some parameters. The URL title is only. So that's good practice, period, just for a website, because you're making sure that whoever's doing the website and whoever's involved and engaged in it is actually constructing it properly. Now, just because Google looks at your search page in a certain way and says, has this page been written for a 12-year-old? Is it not overly technical and yada, yada, yada? That's good practice, because how are you presenting that to your prospective customer? Someone that does so how it doesn't matter how they get it to your web page, for example, just to begin with, but how are you constructing your page? What are you delivering up to them? Are you giving them a good experience on your page? Have you got a call to action on your page? Which comes on to another part, which is the customer experience and user experience. But that's another podcast. So there's a logic behind it, but the whole thing to do with SEO and SEM is that the people that have to do the work are akin to programmers. So what is the qualification of the person that's doing SEO? Have they got an English degree? Because we're talking about grammar here. We're talking about how something's written. Because they go, oh, I'll do SEO for you. You go, but in order to do SEO, you've got to make sure that you're clear about how that business works, clear about how that business functions, in order that you can extract those key words relating to that specific article. Is that article going to be written? Do people want to read it? So you've got this balance between, should I write an article that relates to our business and how our activities impact other businesses? Or should I write an article that people are searching for? And certain people go, you've got to write what people are searching for. Of course you have to. You go, yeah, but I want to tell them about my business. I want to tell them how we're affecting people. We work in a niche market. We've got a niche product. People don't know about us. People haven't got a clue about us. I don't want to write about somebody else and what somebody else is doing. So then if you're trying to do that, then you just become a publisher. You're just trying to write content that satisfies people's searching criteria and curiosity. And then you're going to switch them. That becomes interruption marketing. So businesses have to think, okay, what's this SEO person going to do for us? What are they going to what function are they going to provide? Is it business analysis to look at what we do and extract those keywords from what we do and then write content that relates to the keywords about what we do and formulate that page and make it look great? So where do you fit? Oh, we're unique. We don't fit anywhere. Or, yeah, we're kind of involved in marketing, but nobody knows that we exist, or nobody knows what we do, or we've got a certain way of doing things. So you have to switch people, have a mechanism of trying to switch people. And what I'm getting at is that for B2B organizations to get involved in, or to look at SEO and pay-per-click when you're a service-based, software-based, hardware-based company in a local area, you want to sell to people in your local area. You're not trying to do an Amazon startup and compete with them. You're selling to people locally because it makes sense, because you don't want to travel 150 miles to go and sell to someone. So you want to sell to someone locally. So you want to attract people locally. You want to communicate with them locally. You want to be able to tell them what you're doing locally. And I think on that note, we'll come back after this message.
Business-to-business sales is not as easy as some people think. We're selling high-value solutions that takes upfront investment from serious business owners. That means B2B marketing needs to be a slow burn, long game about communicating your business personality. To achieve the success you want, you must have a strategy that speaks to your prospects on every level.
Social 334 from Sales Exchange will propel your business to new heights and uplift your turnover per person per annum like never before. Download the workbook from the Sales Exchange website and don't worry, we won't be asking you for your email address. If you need to contact us, our details are on the workbook. Download it now and apply it to your business or call us in to do it for you. Visit salesexchange.co.uk.
So I think that it's a toughie. It is a toughie because if you're looking to work with relatively local business, you go, oh, we'll go on Google and go and set up, do the local business stuff with Google. Yeah, of course you do that. But SEO, people talk about long tail SEO. It's like I can get you on the top page, number one spot of a search engine for this string of words. Well, that's amazing. If you've got something like, 6 or 7 words, and you put that in, I'm going to be at the top of the search engine for those 6 or 7 words every single time. So what's the odds? Now, if you're going to do the lottery, 6 numbers in the lottery, what's the odds of finding one person that's going to put in those 6 exact words that you've just come up with to appear at the top of the search engine? Okay, you can say, well, the Google algorithm is going to go, well, I think I know what they're talking about. No, you just put 6 keywords in there. And so, the point is that businesses have to look at this kind of sensitively and say, look, we have to be quite strategic in what we're doing in generating new business and going, yeah. And then because we're talking SEO and SEM, because it's all about generating new business, we segue into cold calling. I mean, you've had enough people call you up.
Yep. The tactics are getting ever more aggressive and less and less productive. There's always been gatekeepers, but I think when you have people ringing you up and saying, I can't talk to you. I can't send you an email. I can't send you an email because you're not the person I need to speak to. But it's like, but you have to get past me to speak to the person that you want to speak to. Or they pretend that they're somebody else. They pretend that they're actually an employee of your company and say, oh, I need to speak to one of your senior members of staff. And they say, oh, I'm just about to go into a meeting, or I'm just about to get onto a flight. Have you got his phone number so that I can speak to him? And it's like, seriously? You pretend that you're somebody else that doesn't have that person's contact number, and you want me to give you that person's number, but you're phoning from the UK, but you're pretending to be an employee from our US office. Never going to work. And I think they're it's getting more and more aggressive and less successful. And in the past, I've very rarely put anybody through because they don't want to explain themselves. They don't want to tell me what they're calling about. They don't want to send information through. Or I think for me, some of the worst ones are they go through. They're phoning from somewhere that's not the UK, and then they go through a whole list of employees that they've come up with from LinkedIn because they don't, they don't get the first person, so they go, oh, hang on a second, I've got another name I can speak to, and they're in completely unrelated parts of the business. So it's like, well, who do you want to speak to? Which area of the business do you want to make contact with these people? And so, I think telesales is getting less and less successful, and because of that, the tactics that are being employed are getting more and more aggressive and hostile towards the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And actually, it's like you have to win her as a friend. And if I get information, or if I received information and it seemed worthwhile, I would pass it on. But if you don't send me information, I can't pass it on. So your cold call just dies a death with me.
I mean, I was talking to Dean the other day, and he was saying people, people are busy, and I get that, and they've got their noise cancelling headsets on. They're working away at their desk. They've got their day is blocked out with different activities and this, that, and the other, and then someone tries to ring up and cold call, and he said it's nigh on impossible. And the other part of it is that if people have their days blocked out, whether they're using Slack or, you look at Slack and Outlook and Skype and all the other things that they've got blocked out on their day to do, the only time to reach them is the early morning or late afternoon, as in when they're on their way home, because that's when people are checking their emails on their commute. And he said the only people that are free to talk to or communicate with are the senior directors. Everybody else is working their nuts off. But I think that at the end of the day, the whole new business generation process, people are still cold calling because this other stuff, this internet stuff, is just too complicated. Well, actually, no, it's not too complicated. It's perceived to be too complicated, but it's. I kind of used a term before about snake oil. The people that are selling it don't know it properly, and so they go and blag the directors wherever they meet or however they're able to go and do it. They don't do a proper job, and because they don't do a proper job, the directors of lots of businesses get not just disheartened. They lose money because they're chucking out money for people to do SEO, and it ain't working. So I tell you what we'll do. We'll go back to cold calling. I know that, and it's 100 to 1 shot to even find someone that will speak to you. But nevertheless, it's 100 to 1 shot, and that's so it's 100 phone calls per day. We speak to 5 people a week. You've got to be kidding me. And that's, you wonder why so many businesses go bust, especially now. It's because in order to compete, you've got to know the landscape. I mean, we're not going to go into Sun Tzu now, but at the end of the day, you've got to know your enemy. You've got to know the landscape. Got to know the tactics in order to make your business function efficiently within these industries, whatever vertical you're in. So if you're looking to compete, you've got to know what your weapons are. And if you just say your weapon of choice is SEO or SEM, it's not. It's lots of different things.
Can't just have one thing. And I think there may be a feeling out there with business owners that they tried the internet, they tried the website. They know that they have to have a website because that's where people will go. People will go to the internet. But they're a bit kind of jaded with the whole website thing. And because we had the boom and the bust of the internet, they are now reverting back to cold calling. I've had calls at like 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon saying, are you looking for a new phone system, with a top provider of voice over IP? And I'm like, but it's 5 to 5 on a Friday afternoon. I've already checked out, and great that you're really keen, but I have no idea who you are. You've called me out of the blue. You asked for the office manager, so you haven't done any research about the company at all, so you don't know my name.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping for the best, that I'm looking for a phone system. And I have some sympathy with them, but it's like, I'll manage your expectations,
Yeah.
No, we're not looking for a phone system.
Dean said something really funny, not funny the other day, but he said, when was the last time you bought something because someone you never knew contacted you out of the blue and told you go and buy it? That never happened. But when does anybody ever do that? And you think, well, wait a second. And we kind of getting into the logic of why people buy stuff. And if you're looking at developing that relationship, speaking to people, communicating with them, how and why does someone connect with you on any level. And as people, as individuals, if you're, so you're sitting at home and your sofa is getting more and more uncomfortable. We noticed.
Mhm.
It gets more and more uncomfortable. And you go, we're going to have to get a new one. We're going to have to get a new sofa. And then it gets to a point where that's it. That's enough. Tomorrow, we're going to go out and start looking at sofas because the pain got so great. Your car mechanic isn't going to phone you and say, Nigel, can you bring your car in? Why is that? Well, actually, I'm a bit short of a turnover this month, a bit short of cash. Bring your car in, I'll see if I can do any work on it and I'll charge you. You go, well, no, you're all right. I'll pass on that, thanks. And your doctor doesn't ring you up either and say, although we've got the NHS, but if it was in the States, it'll be, come down for a checkup and I'll charge you. Is that okay? Go, but I'm not ill. Well, it doesn't matter. I want to do a checkup because we need to get our figures up. It's nonsense. So when it comes to this whole process of cold calling, it's the same thing. And it happens because businesses have not embraced that whole process of making themselves attractive. And using SEO and SEM is seemed like an easy way out. This time next year, Rodney, we'll be millionaires. And it's like, no, because if your pages aren't set up properly, if the information and content on your website isn't attractive enough, sending people to your website is a waste of time. If you've got pay-per-click, your pay-per-click is no different to any other initial engagement process, which means you've got to be communicating to your vertical and to your persona, and any search term needs to reflect what somebody within an organization might be thinking and might type in. And that takes time to talk and discuss to go, well, would a managing director type something in? No, probably not.
But also, don't you think on pay-per-click, I think there's a bit of a thought that, well, once we've got pay-per-click and we've got somebody clicking on our website, that we've arrived. That's it. We've got them now. But that's just not true. It's just that is the beginning of if you want to use pay-per-click or whatever, or SEO, that's just the beginning of the relationship. You then have to have substance. You then have to have something behind that, because it's not enough just to have an advert on Google. You've got to have substance. You've got to have something behind that. So when a suspect clicked on your advert and they go to your page, but they actually see that you've got nothing there. It's not interesting. There's no content on there. They don't even know, who have I clicked on? There's nothing on the About Us page. There's no Meet the Team, or it just says, we're the best thing since sliced bread and you should buy from us. There's nothing. So therefore, if you don't have anything behind that, any substance behind that pay-per-click,
Yeah,
or
100%.
behind that SEO, then you've wasted that, whatever it is that however much you've paid for that engagement with Google, even the SEO. If you've got, if you've built all of your marketing strategy around that pay-per-click or getting to the top of the search engine, and you've spent thousands getting there, but then when the prospect arrives or the suspect arrives, he goes, but there's nothing to this. So, I put this search term in or whatever, but I've arrived and this isn't what I wanted.
Well,
this isn't, there's nothing else here. That's it. I need to find out more about this company. Do they know what I want? As in, is the content on there going to help me arrive at a decision to buy a product, or is it going to take me further away because actually there's nothing on there I'm of any interest? So it's got to be in the round. There's got to be more to it than just pay-per-click and SEO marketing. It has to be content driven. You have to have something behind it.
Back in the day, there was a book called Honest Seduction. What it was the writings from the blog of Ion Interactive, and they were a landing page platform company. They've sold out. Scott Brinkler was the CEO, and Anna Tellerico, and Scott Brinkler is now he runs Martech. They do exhibitions, and so he's like the lead on that. But what they were doing, what they were doing was Ion Interactive was a landing page platform, and it was all about post-click marketing. So you had the first bit, which was trying to get to the top of the search engines and so on. But then it's what happened after that? Once they clicked it, what happened? And there were two arguments. There was, well, you can go down the send them to your website. So people go, great, we've got someone to click, and the link click goes to their homepage. Okay, agreed. That's evolved. And so it goes, people would send it if it was something specific. They would send it on something specific. But originally, people would just send them to the company's website and hope for the best that they would actually navigate their way through it and so on. But the point of post-click marketing was that once you've got the click, then what do you do? And the logic came that to create a landing page that it was a web page, but it didn't have the navigation on it. It wasn't your website, it was a page. And there would have been something at the top, the hero thing at the top, whether it was a picture or a video or whatever, and there was some text and some bullets and a call to action, and give us your details. And the logic of give us your details was that everybody wanted to grow their email list. You go, well, it's sound advice, absolutely sound advice to grow your email address. But that can only be people that are genuinely up for you, genuinely interested in you. So you had everybody out there trying to get everybody as many email addresses as they could, because that would be your value of your business. That would be your goodwill, would be the size of your email list. So there was your post-click marketing. And then it got refined to not just post-click marketing onto a landing page, but post-click marketing onto mini websites. So you could only do that, though, if your pay-per-click could or would attract different people. So bearing in mind, you're looking to sell a product. Your product could be searched for by, let's go for one of three people. The managing director could do it, a manager could do it, or director, or an executive assistant could do it. The managing director wants to know, what's in this for me? Will it make me more money? The director or manager are both employees. So they have to think, I know I've got to see, what the profitability is for this, but I also got to make sure I don't lose my job by making this recommendation. So they're driven by an element of fear. What is this going to elevate me? Is this going to make me look good in the eyes of the managing director? And then you've got the executive assistant who doesn't really care, because she's just doing, or he's just doing as he's told. Go and find me some information on this. So when they arrive at a page, who's the page been written for? And this is one of the big issues. If it says you're a managing director, you do this, and this, and the executive assistant reads it, well, like me. And so the whole way the whole way in which people communicate on paper needs to be communicated to the right person. So you've got your various personas. So you've got to segment them, and you've got personas. And so you've then got the actual content itself to say, if you download this article, your boss is going to love you because of this, and this. But it's a very different message to managing director. So it's looking at how businesses communicate the secondary level of so you've got them to click on it. You've resonated with them in the first place. They've clicked on it. Now you're looking to communicate, and you want people to look at your website and go, "Well, that's quite nice. I know that they're talking to me. I'm quite happy to do that." And then you're into the process of getting their email address, and then they've given you permission to market to them. And as a business, I used to believe that. I don't believe that anymore, because we know that I think it's something like 60% of the activity is done, or the research is 60% of the research is done without me knowing, without any business knowing what's going on. So 60% of the journeys happen without our knowledge, and they're pretty clued up when they actually get to speak to us. And then you say, "We're not going to give you our information unless you give us an email address." So now it's evolved. No, because I know all you're going to do is spam me, and you're just going to pursue me until I get annoyed with you and delete you. So it's like, we're going back to cold calling again. So the whole point of getting the email address was to get the details, and it goes, "Oh, we've got cascading sign-up forms," which means I'll just ask you for your first name and your email address, and then the next time you go anywhere near us, we'll ask you for your inside leg measurement. And then so you've got these cascading forms that can be completed, and these happen on like Marketo and various other marketing automation platforms. But that is simply a replacement for cold calling, because marketing have got KPIs, and those KPIs are to get marketing qualified leads to be able to hand them over to the salespeople. So they receive a marketing qualified lead, and within that process and lead score and everything else, it then becomes a sales qualified lead, and you give it to sales. You go, "My job is done here." And then sales go and attempt to go and sell to them. We go, "It's leads are crap." Managing director says, "Where's your figures?" And sales say, "Leads are crap." And marketer go, "Oh no, they're not. You're just crap at selling. You're just not closing." And you're back into the cycle again. So in a way that I don't see on one level, marketing opportunities and the technology, absolutely amazing. On another level, it's still in the dark ages, doing what they did between the 80s, from the 50s to the late 80s, which was interruption marketing. Go cold calling. I mean, I've talked about, and I've written about this before. I think salespeople should be paid a fortune. 100%. Because if they go out there, find the business, meet the business, phone call the business, go and get an appointment in the business, talk to them, nurture it, take the kit in there, demonstrate it, present it to a board of directors, take the paperwork in there, get it signed, and oversee the installation, training, and implementation of it, pay them a fortune. They haven't cost you a penny in marketing or anything else. Oh, and then they go, "Well, actually, we've got lots of teams of people that do that." Oh, really? So what you're paying your salespeople a fortune for if you've got a lot of other people that do it? And therein lies out one of our kind of approaches, which is there needs to be a different structure. And it's not really segueing into this, but it is what we advocate, which is you've got to change this around, because it doesn't work the way it used to work. And it doesn't matter where you dip in. It keeps coming back to the same thing, because people keep being phoned. We've got the phone calling stuff, and once you've actually got someone that your business, you resonate with them. They've looked at you and gone, I like you. And you've gone, "Well, we like you too, because if you're going to buy from us, then we're going to get on like a house on fire." But where do you take it? How do you grow that? And on that note, we to this.
You've got a database full of prospects,
You can't visit them all,
and you can't cold call them all.
but imagine presenting to them all at the same time
Separate yourself from your competition.
and share your business story with your prospects.
Now's the time.
To look at Sales Exchange Launch
The presentation, platform and strategy.
for B2B solution companies just like yours.
Launch is not just about new products.
It's about you,
Talking to new people.
about your story.
Sales Exchange Launch is about selling at scale.
Visit salesexchange.co.uk
To download our workbook,
or contact our events department on
0800 970 9751.
or email us at events@salesexchange.co.uk. So it is about what you do once you've got the information from the people, once you're communicating, once you're connected, then engage with them. You know, whether you do a launch, whether it doesn't matter, but it's almost doing it without fear of losing them. And I'm convinced that's what drives so many businesses. There, this fear of losing these opportunities, and you would only fear losing the opportunity if it's taken you 20 attempts to connect with someone. That's a month's worth of work, because if you're phoning 100 people and only getting through to one that might want to talk to you, and you speak to 20 people, that's a month's work, one a day, 20 days, 1 month. And then hopefully out of that, then they'll find someone that's genuinely interested. No way, Jose, I will not work to those odds, not ever. That's a mug's game. I can get a job somewhere if that was the case. I couldn't do that.
But the thing is, I think we've got to remember that, you've got to put your buyer's hat on when you're in the selling situation, because it's like, well, how do I like to be sold to? What do I like to do? Do I want to be harassed by somebody on the phone? Do I want to be bombarded with emails? No, we don't, because we'll just unsubscribe, or we just won't answer the phone.
Yeah.
We won't take those phone calls. And I think if you, but we don't apply those thought processes to our own business. That kind of goes out of the window. I think, when you go to a networking meeting, if anybody's been networking, I'm sure most of you have, you go to a networking meeting, and if you were to sit with, say, 20 people and say, right, who's come here to sell their product? And you can probably be guaranteed that 20 people will put their hands up. And they say, well, who's come to buy? Who's come to buy here today? What are the likelihood of another 20 people putting their hands up? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. And I think, if we don't think like a buyer, what does the buyer want? The buyer wants information. The buyer wants to know that he can trust you. The buyer wants to build a relationship with you before you even know that you have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And if 60% of the work is done before they actually approach you as a potential supplier, it's about closing that gap now between the 60% and the 100%, which is then becoming a customer. You've got to keep up that relationship, and that relationship is not about bombarding them with phone calls or bombarding them with email information, because you can very quickly turn off a prospect if you harass him with information that isn't necessarily relevant. So you've got to think about this marketing strategy very, very carefully, and be providing content that is meaningful, that speaks to them, that answers their problems, answers their questions. But you've got to maintain that throughout that whole lead up to the actual purchase. You can't then just say, right, well, I've got this email address, I'm now going to completely change tack, and I'm now going to just bombard them with all this information.
Yeah.
Is irrelevant to them. It is about nurture, and sometimes you've got to take the long view. But
I think you've got to take the long view all the time. But the reason businesses don't take the longer view all the time, is because they haven't got enough in the pipeline. And so they want to go and strangle the people that they got in there and kill it. nail it, make it happen now, close them down, and so you've got the sales, call it a sales team, and the hierarchy within the sales team. Figures, close. I've got targets. So the sales director's got targets, and the manager's got targets, and the teams and everybody else, they've all got their targets. Sales. So what if the customer doesn't want to buy just yet? Doesn't matter. Go and close them. Oh, really? So you can sit on your pedestal and do that and say that. But the trouble is that if you don't have a relaxed approach to people buying from you, then you have to go into sell mode. You have to go and close them. But people have changed. We both, the listeners, us, we know how we like to buy. We're crystal clear on it. We've been clear about how we like to buy for decades. Since we were old enough to spend our pocket money, we know how we can buy, how we want to buy. But that never translates into a sales team, because the sales team don't make the company attractive. The sales team never go in first. And this is the kick. So the people that go in first are the marketing people. The people that get the glory for the deal are the salespeople, not the marketing people. The marketing people went in first. They started to make the company look attractive. And if you're not making your company look attractive through your marketing, you ain't going to get an opportunity to send your salesperson in there. So it's the chicken and egg. What came first? And even that, it winds me up. And bearing in mind, I mean, for our listener out there, or listeners, I started in sales in 87. No, I didn't. I started in sales in 84, direct sales in Mayfair. And prior to that, I was in retail management. I worked in a camera shop. But nevertheless, I trebled the guy's turnover working in a shop. He loved me. And then I went into direct sales, and I sold office equipment in Mayfair. And that was the classic. You rain or snow, you go out, you door knock, you get compliment slips. You put your hand over the door intercom and muffle your noise, muffle what you're saying so they can't hear you. They just open the door anyway. So you've got your foot in the door and you go up to the reception and you get a compliment slip, and you get the names of the person's name as the decision maker. Phone them up, make an appointment. I had a Ford Cortina estate. It was like a curse, and I had to drive that around central London in Mayfair, little streets, and you get a mate to come and help you with a photocopier, and you take it out of flatbed back of because it was an estate, take this big old photocopier out and take it in and demonstrate it. And I did, and I got the deals. So I know from the absolute sharp end of doing it end to end. Now, it's called sales and marketing. And it should be sales and marketing then, because the salesman did all the work. Marketing was the odd mail shot that was sent out, nothing else. That was it.
Brochure.
But we had to hand deliver it, so they never sent it out. And so that was sales and a little bit of marketing. Now, marketing starts, and it's that blend now, which is it's not just about the marketing, it's not just about the revenue, and it's not just about the technology. We have got so much kit and software and marketing MarTech at our disposal that's all part and parcel of the way in which we work. So you can't have anybody in that loop being devoid of the logic other people are working, whether you're using Slack or Teams or any of the software that's out there. And that has to blend now with our, the CRM, the Salesforce and so on, and the integration of that with MAP, marketing automation platforms and so on. So the landscape's changed to an organization having to make sure that the technology and software that they've got is so well interconnected and integrated. You've created this this platform, this machine inside your business that is the engine that drives it. And in order to make that engine work, it needs content in lots of different forms. So the engine and the people involved in that engine, they run the website, they run they've got to understand the user experience, the customer journey, everything else, because they must have that ready in order to receive the fuel, which is the content. And that fuel has to work its way around like fuel and oil has got an oil, all of those cogs within that engine that you've created, which is now called software. So you've got your engine, you've got your fuel. And the last person, the single person that comes along and makes all of that work is a salesman. And he's got to take it like Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton he doesn't make it happen. He can't do it. He just happens to turn the steering wheel left and right. Okay, might be and use his foot, left and right, his foot on two pedals. If you think about that, I mean, yeah, great racing driver, amazing racing driver, risk, speed, and all that. Yeah, absolutely right. But he cannot do that. I think it's Mercedes. Can't do it without Mercedes. That little company. So one person, but look at the people behind him. Same with the salespeople. One person, look at all the people behind him. So you cannot put the pressure on the salesperson because you can always swap them out and get another one.
And the thing is, you can't just say that one thing works, going back to pay-per-click or SEO. It's not that one thing that works. You can't just have one thing. It's the interplay between all of these things. It might be SEO, it might be pay-per-click, but it also might be content, it might be an event, it might be a networking situation.
You mentioned event.
Yeah, I did.
You mentioned event. We'll be back right after this message.
You've got a database full of prospects
You can't visit them all,
and you can't cold call them all.
but imagine presenting to them all at the same time
Separate yourself from your competition.
and share your business story with your prospects.
Now's the time.
To look at Sales Exchange Launch
The presentation platform and strategy.
for B2B solution companies just like yours.
Launch is not just about new products,
It's about you,
talking to new people.
about your story.
Sales Exchange Launch is about selling at scale.
Visit salesexchange.co.uk
To download our workbook,
or contact our events department on
0800 970 9751.
or email us at events@salesexchange.co.uk. So it is about, the fuel that has to drive that engine is highly complex. You see the Castrol GTX oil adverts, liquid engineering and so on. But, you've got to look at it like that. It's got to be something like that that everybody also has an appreciation of. Because, the analogy of someone sitting in the corner with a can of Coke and a bag of crisps and a propeller on their head, doing the geek work. No, absolutely not. The complexities and knowledge required to set a website up today is breathtaking. I defy anybody to go, oh, it's just a website. Go on then, you do it. See how long it takes you. And so I'm not decrying anybody in the process. It's part of me is disappointed that people that do put themselves across as being professionals haven't got a clue. And they make it work bad for the ones that have got a clue. And the ones that do know, from putting effort into page speed and why slow. And those that know what why slow is will go, he knows. And you're looking at your HTTP headers and looking at what what your JavaScript's doing and how is that slowing your page down, and can you put all your images into sprites? And the people that are listening to this, if they know I know. So that the whole point of just getting your website operational, it's almost like taking the spark plugs out and doing the tappets on your engine. It's all part and parcel of this. And that's just that. You've also got your you've also got your marketing automation platform, and all of these different elements to your business don't just operate in isolation. They work on the lines of integration with everything else. That means that the journey if someone does happen to click on your website because of the work that you've done to get, every single page has to be a landing page. Doesn't matter what it is. Every single part of that journey, there's got to be a call to action. There's got to be a way of doing it. There's got to be a way of encouraging them through. There's got to be a way of not stalking them, and there's software out there that'll do that. That's their objective, is to stalk your visitors so you can go and pester them and go, oh, look, we noticed you were on our website. It's like, yeah, and how dare you ring me up? Oh, you downloaded one of our documents, so what are you calling me for? Well, I'd like to come and talk to you about it. I just read your document, get lost. It's like, what do you think? And because the salespeople and the sales teams have come back to the same KPIs that they've got to get phone calls and get in front of people. And it's, why do you want to get in front of people? We produce video for ourselves. We recommend people use video because I can present that 24/7. I'm more effective as a business than most businesses out there because we've got video about everything that we do. So I am more productive than any other salesperson out there because I'm constantly being referenced. Even this podcast. People can listen to us and go, they kind of know what they're talking about. Might have a look at their website. And in 6 months, a year's time, you go, do you know what? We should go back to that company and have a chat with them. Bingo. Speak to you in a year's time. That's what this is about. But you've got to be confident that what you are saying and what you are doing, you're able to communicate that well enough to get to the point to go, do you know what? We'll go back and talk to them. But then there's another thing, which, once you've got all of that working, once you've got all of that sorted out, you've then got the point of what do you do with your existing customers? How do you manage them? What do you do with them? How do you continue to add value to them? They've already bought from you. So they've already paid it, but they've already bought into you and bought from you. So what do you do with them? And how can, in certain cases, you sell something to someone, they've bought it, they're not going to buy from you for another 3 years. So it's a bit of effort, really, isn't it, to keep in touch with them? And then, you can pop in and see them and say hello, but, or you can extract or try and extract information from them to sell to other people they know. So you could do that. That's valid. But on that note, I just want to play this last message. Imagine.
More sales, more profit, more exposure, more introductions, more appointments, more income, less stress. Sales Exchange, syndicates, salesexchange.co.uk.
And I just want to put a bit of information around that, because the whole point of these adverts is to use them. So there's a thing called syndicate. So you've got your existing customers. You've already sold to them. What can you do with them now? And we have a platform called Sales Exchange Syndicates, and we bring together, we matchmake 5 companies, sell to the same audience but don't compete with each other, and we orchestrate a long-term strategy for them to interact with each other's customers. So if everybody had 10 customers each, you would increase exposure to other people's customers by 400% overnight. And the point is that you get one-to-one introductions. People have heard of and have seen. You touched on networking earlier. This is the kind of networking on steroids in a way, because we build a website for the group. We do all of the marketing for the group. We do marketing automation for the group. We write the content, send it out, and organise events. So whilst we organise events for your existing customers, for them to meet each other and interact with each other and so on, and make an interesting community of your 5 businesses and associated customers, it's also an opportunity to invite your prospects to it. So therefore it keeps going. But I'm not going to go into that massively, but that's the point of this. You can see that this is all about new business, and in terms of where or how companies need to evaluate where they are right now and to have a plan of where they're going to be in a year, 3 and 5 years' time. And if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. That's a given. But I think, analysing your marketing and analysing how people are talking to you and being in a position to say, well, what are you saying to me? You're telling me to buy SEO. I've got this in the back of my mind. I'm not quite sure about SEO, but yeah, maybe we should be doing something. But it's a lot of money, and is it, or pay-per-click or whatever. We want to be kind of at the forefront in a way for business owners that have to get involved in that marketing conversation, not because they want to necessarily, but there are a lot of directors out there that have to. They've got no choice because, it's about income. It's about the stability of their companies. And like I said right at the beginning, the entrepreneurs have gone out there. They've got the ones that have taken a hit on their family and this, that, not on hit on their family, but they've could have potentially put their family environment at jeopardy because they took a risk. And where they are now is to say, right, well, we have to give our businesses the best possible chance of moving forward. And the point about this is that we're at a point where we're going to come to the end of this now. But the point of Sales Exchange is to give everything away for you to go and do it. And if you want us to do it, of course we'll do it. Of course we'll do the work for you. Of course we will. That's what we're here for. We're in business to do that. But we want to make, and we are making ourselves attractive, we believe, by the amount of people that are looking at us and downloading our documents. So that really brings us to the end of our podcast. We want to encourage people to do what needs to be done and to give businesses all the tools that they could possibly use to do that. And I think that's it. That's bye from me. I'm Nigel May, founder and manager director of Sales Exchange, and
Chris Main, also director.
more than that.